Have you ever felt like the world turned its back on you? Until one discovery gave you the power to change everything. This is my story. My name is Sarah, and at 28 years old, I uncovered a web of lies that shattered everything I thought I knew about my family and gave me the chance to rewrite our legacy. I grew up in a household where I never truly belonged. My mother married Richard, a wealthy businessman, when I was just 10 years old. From the moment they walked down the aisle, it was clear that I wasn't part of their perfect picture. Richard didn't hide his disdain for me. He made it known in subtle ways, like forgetting my birthday or dismissing my achievements. My mother, desperate to keep the peace, always told me to be understanding, so I learned to stay quiet, to fade into the background, and to avoid causing trouble. But no matter how hard I tried, I could never measure up to Richard's expectations. He saw me as a burden, a reminder of my mother's past life before him. Over time, I stopped trying to win his approval. Instead, I focused on school, throwing myself into my studies and dreaming of a future where I could escape the tension that filled our home. When I graduated college, I moved out as quickly as possible, determined to build a life of my own. Years passed, and I rarely visited my mother and Richard. Our relationship had grown distant, strained by years of unspoken resentment. But when my mother passed away unexpectedly, I returned home for the funeral. It was the first time I had seen Richard in months, and the grief in his eyes caught me off guard. For a brief moment, I wondered if he might finally see me as more than just an outsider. That hope was short-lived. A few weeks after the funeral, I received a letter from Richard's lawyer summoning me to read the will. The meeting took place in a grand office filled with polished wood and shelves lined with legal books. Richard was already seated when I arrived, his expression unreadable. I could feel the weight of his judgment without him saying a word. The lawyer cleared his throat and began, "Thank you both for being here today. Mr. Richard has specific instructions regarding the distribution of his estate." He paused, scanning the room before continuing. "To Sarah, he leaves nothing. All assets, including the house, investments, and personal belongings, are to be transferred to Mr. Richard." My heart sank. "Nothing?" I asked, my voice trembling. "How could he leave me nothing?" Richard leaned forward, his tone cold and dismissive. "You were never part of this family, Sarah. You know that. Your mother may have loved you, but I never did." His words hit me like a punch to the gut. I clenched my fists under the table, trying to stay calm. "That's not fair," I shot back. "I may not have been your daughter, but I was hers. She deserved better than this." The lawyer raised a hand to quiet us. "There's more. Mrs. Eleanor, your mother left a handwritten note for Sarah to read aloud after the will is finalized. Would you like to proceed?" I nodded, still processing what had just happened. The lawyer handed me an envelope sealed with wax. With shaking hands, I opened it and began to read. "My dearest Sarah, if you're reading this, it means I'm no longer with you. Before I go any further, let me tell you how much I love you. You've always been my light, my strength, and my greatest joy. I know things haven't been easy for you, not with Richard, not with the way he treated you. But please know that none of it was your fault. You deserved so much more than what we gave you. Unfortunately, I've also uncovered some painful truths about Richard that I can no longer ignore. Enclosed in this envelope are documents detailing his actions over the years, actions that have hurt not only you but also me. These secrets have shaped our family's history, but they don't have to define its future, Sarah. I'm trusting you to decide what to do with this information. You can expose the truth, rewrite our legacy, or simply walk away. Whatever you choose, know that I believe in you with all my love. Eleanor's silence filled the room as I lowered the letter. Richard's face turned pale, and for the first time, I saw fear in his eyes. What is this nonsense? He demanded, his voice shaky. She couldn't. It's real, the lawyer confirmed. Your wife left explicit instructions. The choice is yours, Sarah. I sat there, stunned. My mother had given me the power to uncover the truth and the opportunity to set things right. After the meeting, I visited the lawyer's office to retrieve the documents. Inside the envelope, I found bank statements, emails, and legal records detailing Richard's deception. He had been siphoning money from my mother's accounts for years, using her wealth to fund his extravagant lifestyle while leaving her with barely enough to cover her expenses. Worse still, I discovered that he had forged her signature on several documents, effectively cutting her out of her own inheritance. For days, I wrestled with what to do. Part of me wanted to expose everything, to force Richard to confront the consequences of his actions. I imagined walking into a courtroom, holding up the documents, and watching him lose everything he had stolen. It would be poetic justice, wouldn't it? To see him humiliated for the pain he caused my mother and me. But another part of me knew that revenge wouldn't bring peace. Exposing the truth might feel satisfying in the moment, but it wouldn't heal the wounds or restore the relationships that had been broken long before I was born. Instead, I decided to use the evidence to take back what belonged to my mother and to help others who had been victims of similar betrayals. I hired a team of lawyers and filed a lawsuit against Richard, accusing him of fraud and financial abuse. The case gained media attention, and soon, stories of other women who had suffered at his hands began to surface. One by one, they came forward, sharing their experiences of manipulation, exploitation, and betrayal. One of these women was Margaret, a former business partner of Richard's. She revealed that he had coerced her into signing over her shares in a lucrative project, leaving her financially ruined. Another woman, Rachel, described how Richard had manipulated her into co-signing loans that she couldn't repay, trapping her in debt for years. Their stories resonated deeply with me, reminding me of my own struggles with Richard and my mother's silent suffering. As the trial unfolded, I watched Richard's empire crumble. His business partners turned against him, his friends abandoned him, and his reputation was destroyed. In the end, the court ruled in my favor, ordering Richard to return every penny he had stolen from my mother. I sold the house and liquidated his assets, using the money to create a foundation dedicated to supporting women who had been victims of financial abuse. The foundation became my life's work. I partnered with shelters, legal aid organizations, and counseling services to provide resources and support to women in need. Every day, I heard stories of resilience and courage, stories that reminded me of my own journey. Through these women, I found a sense of purpose that I had never experienced before. But building the foundation wasn't easy. At first, I struggled to navigate the complexities of running a nonprofit organization. I had to learn how to manage budgets, secure funding, and coordinate with volunteers. There were moments when I doubted myself, when I wondered if I was capable of carrying such a heavy responsibility. But then I remembered my mother's words. Whatever you choose, know that I believe in you. Her faith in me gave me the strength to keep going, even when the road ahead seemed impossible. Over time, the foundation grew. We opened shelters for women fleeing abusive relationships, provided legal assistance to those fighting for their rights, and offered counseling services to help them heal from trauma. We also launched educational programs to teach women about financial literacy, empowering them to take control of their lives and protect themselves from exploitation. Through this work, I discovered something profound. Healing isn't just about fixing the past, it's about creating a better future. By helping others, I was also healing myself. The pain of losing my mother and the betrayal I felt from Richard didn't disappear, but it became easier to carry. I realized that my mother's legacy wasn't defined by the hardships she endured, it was defined by the love she gave and the lessons she taught me. Looking back, I realized that my mother didn't just leave me a legacy of pain, she gave me a mission. She taught me that true strength isn't measured by the battles we win, but by the lives we touch along the way. And though Richard may never understand, I've found a sense of peace that no amount of money could buy. If you're watching this and feeling betrayed, remember, sometimes the truth can set you free. If this story resonates with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Subscribe for more inspiring stories, and let's rewrite our legacies together.